Hey guys, welcome back. Today we've got yet another helicopter mod. Yeah, I know. This time it is the CH-47 Chinook. This particular version that we have here is the fun version, the Guns a Go-Go gunship version. We can have a look here at the external model, and of course I'll post the link to this helicopter mod in the video description. It installs just like pretty much any other helicopter mod, so it doesn't replace anything. Really nice external model, and of course a nice, albeit not fully functional, internal cockpit as well. We have a 40mm grenade launcher here on the front, which, well, you'll just see. And then we've also got a couple of stub wings with rocket pods, the good old 19-shot LAU-3s, I believe, or LAU-68, and then, of course, the miniguns as well. So let's hop into the cockpit. There's a little bit of a trick to getting this thing up and going, so that you'll notice the message up there saying engine started, ECL to flight. The ECL is this guy right here. I'm going to push those to move forward to flight. Alright, so with that out of the way, we're going to hold down page up to rev up the engine RPMs. And now it says unlock the parking brake. The parking brake is this guy down here. We're going to push him in. And then it just says increase collective, take off when ready. But before we do that, we also have a gun sight up here. I haven't figured out quite how to make that work yet. I know it does work, but and it's not that thing. So alright, well, let's just go flying. So I'm increasing the collective, and spoiler alert, I am not a good helicopter pilot, so we shall see how this goes. This thing has a pretty interesting flight model. It almost flies like a very slow-flying airplane, honestly. I'm not sure how realistic that is, but it's what we got, so I'm not complaining. And round about here somewhere, I have some Russian trucks. Now, I also have my gun selector set up. I pull the trigger there. We do have door gunners, and that's what that was. I push it again, and it will be rockets, I believe. This might be the spot. Yeah, there they are. They're down there, alright. So this is a big, heavy helicopter. It does not maneuver very easily. Oh, by the way, we have the Sea-Wise Giant out there off the coast of Batumi that we're going to be looking at that a little bit later, because you have to have something big enough to land this thing on. Hang on, I've lost the troop convoy again, so a little bit of a foul up there. It should be right in here though. Yeah, here we go. So the problem with this is that turning is actually very difficult in this helicopter. You're not going to bring it around very fast at all. This is what you get for full left rudder input. That's it. It's like the rudder of an aircraft. In order to really turn this thing around, you have to bank it. And there we are. Now we're turned back around. There's our rockets. And it looks like we nailed one of the vehicles. So if I press the weapon selector or gun selector again, which I do have bound to a button on my joystick here. Oops, don't want to hit the ground. That should bring up the miniguns, which, yep, there we go. I am not a very good helicopter pilot, I'm just gonna say that, but this thing is fairly forgiving. It doesn't seem to have really a damage model as of yet, but for what we have here, and oh no, I think we're starting to encounter a limit of the EFM. Yeah, see, we just went right through those trees and no damage model. So that's something that needs to be improved, but anyway, it's really hard to aim these guns with without that sight up there. I wish I knew how to make it work. But there's a lot of stuff in here that's not modeled. I do know it does work. I just haven't figured out how to use it yet. If anyone has tried this mod and knows, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. So we haven't really been able to do a whole lot with our, and oh, by the way, this is a pretty fast helicopter. So I'm trying to slow us down here and get us a little bit lower. I'm going to push this gun selector again because that is the 40mm grenade launcher. And it just wiped out 2 of the trucks. Sorry about that, AH-6 there. That was just scenery. So I'm going to drop the collective a bit. This grenade launcher is really fun. It really is. I haven't tested it on the little soldiers that you can put down here, but it seems to work pretty well on soft-skinned vehicles, that's for sure. If all else fails, use the grenade launcher. Now, apparently this grenade launcher is slewable. Oh. Point-blank range shots at that truck there. I think that was a truck anyway that I was shooting at. Hopefully it wasn't a terrain feature. That would be pretty embarrassing. But just looking out here, I see 4 fires. I think that is about right, because we only had I think we only had 3 before. I might be wrong there, and I'm about to crash this thing. But I come up on the collective and we're okay. So of course we have the door gunners, as I mentioned before, but they are kind of a pain in the neck to use. What you have to do is you have to just kind of look out the window to your right and do what I'm doing here. Just without the possibility of being able to use that little gun sight there. I really wish I could use that thing, but I don't know how. So anyway, it looks like we took out all 4 of the trucks, so let's go ahead and head over and see if we can land on the Seawise Giant. And the reason why I picked that ship is because short of a Tarawa class landing helicopter dock, well, honestly, it's actually bigger than that, and even bigger than a Nimitz class supercarrier, which is one of the reasons why I picked it. But I also wanted to see how precise you can be when landing this thing, because it doesn't go anywhere in a big hurry. And it's almost impossible to get much of anywhere using the rudder. So that was full left rudder, this is full right rudder. Now obviously you don't have a rudder, this is a twin rotor helicopter. You have torque control or I believe it's actually variable rotor speed that controls. It may not even have that. I'm not sure if no, I'm pretty sure that it has variable rotor speed or of some kind to control the yaw axis, but a lot of your turning ability in this thing is going to be from just banking the aircraft. So unfortunately the ship is moving, but it does have a I think anyway, it has a helicopter pad on the far side, on the port side, close to the superstructure. And that is what we're going to try to set this thing down on. So I'm just using the rudder control here in a slight bit of bank in attempting to make this work. I want to pull up on the, let down on the collective and pull up on my nose to slow down. See how precise we can get. That helipad is right there. Okay, full collective now. We were dropping a little bit too fast. Have a nice big no smoking sign on the front of their superstructure. I'm sure that's because this thing is an oil carrying ship. And we're down. Wow, that was pretty darn good. That was really good. They even turned on the landing lights for us. How nice. Let's see if I can center it here. Bingo. Alright, let's pull the parking brake. Bring these guys back. Somewhere in here, there's also ramp controls. I think the ramps are animated. Let's see. What is... now that I don't need it. So the gun sight switch is actually this little guy right here in between this red covered switch and the weapon station select. That would have been handy. Ugh, how embarrassing. Alright, well, I tell you what, let's have a little bit more fun with this thing. Let's see how the grenade launcher and some of the other weapons, well, we already know what they're going to do because we've done it before with the AH6 mod, and they're basically the same thing against the little troops that you can put down in DCS. So we're back in the mission editor real quick before we take a look at that 40mm grenade launcher against troops. But I just wanted to point out some things that make this aircraft mod look a lot like, honestly, the CH-53 mod that we've already reviewed. And it, honestly, also the C-130 mod, where you can drop up troops and stuff like that out the back. And I believe you can do that here with this mod as well. So anyway, the liveries apparently changed the way the aircraft looks. You can see here we have the Royal Air Force camouflage scheme on, but if we go to the Guns A Go-Go scheme, you'll notice that the engines have changed. They're the old style CH-47 engines instead of the newer turbo shafts that, for example, the Spec Ops version uses. The Spec Ops skin looks kind of cool, although I also really like the Guns A Go-Go skin because, well, I mean, you know, looks really cool. So, we also have US Army Desert. That's the new ones, of course. We have RAF Green, and we have Standard, which it seems to be just RAF Green. So, we'll go back to the Guns A Go-Go thing for a second. We have a bunch of different weapon stations here where we can carry stuff. We've got the 40mm grenade launcher, which adds on there in the front. Really cool thing, that. And then apparently we can also carry sling loads, although I'm not totally sure how that works. And then this is the Spec Ops loadout. So we're gonna go with... Oh, and apparently it also gives us a refueling probe with the Spec Ops skin. So that's kind of cool. Alright, well, let's have a look at that. Alright, so we're back in the CH-47. We have just the grenade launcher this time. And I can't quite seem to figure out where all that's coming from. Let me turn this gun sight on. Okay. So we've got our gun sight going. I can't find where these guys are, though. Need to get back to the grenade launcher. There we go. So we're taking some fire here, and apparently this thing does actually have a damage model, but it's a buggy one. We are taking some hits here. Well, none of those guys seem to be having too much trouble. And I feel like we're starting to lose power here. Yeah, we're having trouble here. Alright, well, I wasn't able to hit anything. It's a lot harder to hit troops with this grenade launcher, but it is still fun to knock out vehicles with it. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe as always if you did. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Rifle.